Jeff Nicholson, VP of Marketing at Provenir, with us today. And he's seen a lot of different challenges in the loyalty space, and we're here to talk about those today.
Great.
So what challenges are you seeing that brands are having to face right now?
Yeah, one of the great things in terms of challenges that we're hearing is brands are wondering, should I be part of these conversations on social networks to begin with? Are customers expecting me to be there? And will I create them out if I reply? And that's the creepy factor that we keep hearing about. And it is a concern for brands, and it should be. And so on the back of our engagements that we've had with all these various brands and agencies over our history, we've actually built out a framework for this. And it's called the New Golden Guidelines for Actionable Social Engagement. And it has actually been produced to help brands understand that critical question that they can, need to, and should be asking. And it weighs two things: the expectation of listening, and it weighs that against the appropriateness of action. And it allows brands to understand what are the situations where the customer is not just expecting but demanding that I'm there listening. And if I'm not, I'm going to be creating a bad experience. And then, on the other side, even if they're expecting me to listen, how should I respond? What is the appropriateness of action on the back of that? And the system that we have allows them to automate, of course, those processes once they put them in place. But it's a great framework, and it is a brand new white paper that your membership can download. Yes. To really learn about that concept in detail and that framework in detail.
So Jeff, consumers have so many devices on them all the time, and they're always, they're watching TV and they're looking at their mobile or their iPads. I mean, they're just always multitasking. Yeah. They're always doing stuff. Has this affected how brands are engaging with those customers? And if so, I mean, is it difficult? Is it more difficult? What's that look like?
Well, it absolutely has. And I think more to the, point, the consumer is forcing the change on the brand. So the issue that's created is you're not just using one device after the other the next day. As consumers, we're using them at the very same time.
Sure.
And if perhaps we're using a brand's mobile site at the same time as we'll open up the tablet site and we have a question, so let's call the call center, and now all of a sudden we have all these touch points completely open and being used at the very same time. So the issue that's created for brands that used to only have to deal with a phone call is, how do I understand this customer individually? They may have just clicked twice on how do I close my account, and now I've just ringed you up. They may have been looking for terms and conditions on something. They may have been looking at other products that you have. How do you bring that together in real time so that you can do the right thing by the customer and actually serve them individually like they expected to be treated?
Sure.
And they're one customer, whether they're using many touch points or not. And so the issue that's created for brands is that their infrastructure was just never, ever dreamed to be set up to need to handle that.
Sure.
They have siloed systems, they have siloed touch points, many different databases. And so it's very difficult in most cases to bring all that together in real time. And that's one of the things that we're helping brands with. In essence, one of the great things our technology does for them as a byproduct is it kind of serves as the real-time glue across all of those things that we just mentioned, and then uses that interaction to make almost a virtual on-demand customer database of one, only when interactions occur. And that way you have instant up-to-date data, you're making the right decision for that customer in that instant that serves them individually. And that's what it's all about. And so that's one of the approaches now that brands are using to get over that hurdle, because you just can't wait the 2 years or whatever it'll take to put everything into one monster database. And that wouldn't really solve the problem either.
No. And you mentioned that like somebody was trying to close their account a couple times.
Yeah.
So how does that work? Are there like tiers for the different level of engagement with that consumer? I mean, how does that look like for you guys?
So it's built on a number of different things, and whether it's predictive models that are uploaded into the system that help arbitrate, or business rules that the business users will architect and dream up and craft in the system. And literally, it allows you to, as one person articulated, allows it to engineer great experiences. And that's what its purpose in life is.
Sure.
And it allows you to arbitrate for this person at this moment what is the right thing to do for them. It may be segment-based to your question, certainly, but it could be completely individual, and the next person would never get the same treatment even if they came close to qualifying, because certain other conditions in the context were not met. So yes, certainly segment-based, but the real art in this is taking, well, science rather, is taking this and really focusing on each individual one at a time.
So do you have any great like success stories already from, I mean, where you guys are at with your product and how long it takes and all the good stuff?
Absolutely, absolutely. I would hope so. One great one's coming to mind. This is a chain of hundreds of restaurants, type of eatery establishments, and so forth. And they had a very specific goal. They wanted to take a traditional card-based loyalty program and turn it into one that was four things: digital, mobile, social, and real time. And it was no small order. They wanted to do this in less than 3 months, somehow. And to do that, their challenge was they wanted to bring together many different touch points, as you can imagine. Point of sale systems, push notification to Apple and Android, also a mobile app that they had to create and wanted to create, email, SMS, things like that, but also social. And they were able to weave that into the program as well. I'll give you that example. As customers tweet, I'm going to XYZ brand tonight to go meet my friends, I'll see you there. We're letting the brand listen and detect that, and the brand's actually depositing loyalty points into their account for saying this great thing on Twitter. So a lot better than the like us on Facebook strategies that we have seen for so long that really fall flat. They're actually doing something with social that rewards the customer individually. But marrying that up with the other journeys, the onboarding process, the redemption process. And in real time, as they buy new products in the location, they're getting presented with location-based offers that recognize that that point was just earned, and perhaps they're only 5 points away from earning the next reward. So the customer is getting a great deal out of it, and so is the business. In fact, the business saw the sign-ups for their loyalty program go up about 5 times in the first week alone. And when it comes to the relative costs or investments for the projects, they're not what they used to be. And the impact is so immediate. So they told us that the revenue that was brought in incrementally in the first week alone was equal to the cost of the project as a whole. So these things pay for themselves very quickly, but it's because it's a different kind of animal. It's no longer a card-based program. It is digital, mobile, social, in real time to move with this new connected customer.
That's great. I mean, I'm excited. I'm kind of at the point where it's like, where do I sign up now? But no, I mean, this is great. I mean, this is what people, like we said, this is what people are looking for. You also had mentioned with the consumer and reaching obviously multiple devices. Does that consumer have the capability to customize it to how they want to be reached? Can they do that? Is that something that you guys offer?
Yeah, and I think that's the best practice. And as a brand, it should be your best practice to not try and guess which channel or channels are the ones that your customer prefers. Ask them directly, especially during an onboarding process where you have their attention.
Sure.
All right? And then you can understand where do they want to be replied to. And you can actually put a process in place where if they tweet something and you're listening, in those cases you need to be, do they want to be replied back on Twitter, or do they expect a reply on their preferred channel of SMS or email or otherwise? You need to be able, as a brand, to remember that preference of the individual and immediately reply on the right channel. And that's one of the things we're allowing these brands to do.
Now, I know you were talking about how quickly this can be put into place, which is amazing. The revenue is there, which is awesome. What about the complexity of this system? Like, does it take a bunch of people to run? How, what does that look like? Because I know that's always a big concern for organizations.
Yeah, and it has been one of the reasons that people haven't acted to date.
Sure.
It's not that people don't want to be doing things with social information or big data or otherwise. It's that they think they're scared of it. They think it's got to be a large project, and it honestly has been until now. And so what we have is a cloud-based package that makes this finally practical and easy for brands to bite off. And it simply allows them to listen for key phrases, understand if it's a customer, pull back any number of pieces of customer data on the fly in that instant, make a real-time decision as to the right thing to do, and execute that action immediately. And it comes with pre-built adapters that makes life easy. adapters into Facebook, into any number of different databases, Hadoop and MongoDB, and on and on. But that's how we make it practical. It's almost like using a whiteboard, and quite literally, our experts will sit and mock up a whiteboard. How would you like the life cycle of that customer to look? When they become a customer, what do you want to do next? And what do you want to do next? And then the adapters simply get dragged right on and let go, and it becomes a living whiteboard. And in fact, you will see processes run. And as things are tweeted and commented, you'll see them pulse through that whiteboard as processes are initiated, decisions are made, and it comes to life. And it lets brands begin and get in the water very quickly and easily, and then they can refine and make it more complex over time. But they can finally get on with it, and that's what we're hearing people love about it.
That's great.
Pleasure to see you here again.
Great to see you also, Jeff, and we wish you best luck in your guys' endeavors. This is exciting new territory. You guys are embarking on something that's not been done before, and everyone's waiting for it.
Well, it's absolutely exciting, and we're thrilled to be a part of it.
Great. Thanks, Jeff.